Colorado has a huge advantage this year, and it has everything to do with one player on their team. If you clicked on this video, you probably know the direction we're going with this, but out of all of the talent that is returning for the Buffs and out of all of the talent that is there on Coach Prime's team, there is one player that stands above them all. And it's not Travis, it's not Shiloh, it's not Cormani, it is obviously the quarterback. The quarterback of any team is most important. On 99 out of 100 teams, he's the difference maker. And how well he plays or is able to play based on offensive line play, based on his receivers, the kind of spots that his defense puts him in, is usually how well a season is going to go. But does Colorado have the best quarterback in all of the Big 12? Is Shedeur enough of an advantage for the Buffs to where they can compete for the conference and win the inaugural season of this new Big 12 conference that we've got going? We're going to talk about Shedeur today. We're going to talk about some of the other big-time quarterbacks in this conference that could put up a challenge, and then tell you who we think is the best quarterback in the Big 12. Shedeur started in 11 games during the 2023 season. He had 69.3% of his passes go for completions, over 3,200 yards. He had 31 total touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns on the ground and just under 400 yards there. He broke so many records that we can't even go through all of them. Most passing yards in a season, second most touchdowns, second most passing attempts, second most passing completion, highest completion percentage in a single season. He was 9th in the country in completion percentage. He was the first player in Colorado history with 500 passing yards in a single game. And he had a host of other high efficiency and high touchdown marks, both single game and total season. And then, of course, he was awarded the AP Pac-12 Newcomer of the Year, named to the first team all-transfer for the On-3 and the Athletic. Also got Pac-12 honorable mentioned by College Football Network and other outlets. He absolutely went off against TCU. He had games where he nearly completed 80% of his passes, and he absolutely balled out for Colorado. Who else is up there? Who else has a chance to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country? Noah Fifita of Arizona was named the Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. He made 12 appearances and 9 starts during his time with the Wildcats there in Arizona. He had the highest single completion percentage in program history. He completed 241 out of his 333 pass attempts. He had just under 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns, only had 6 interceptions. He guided the Wildcats to a 7-game winning streak to conclude the season. That was the longest single-season winning streak in program history. He had a really good year, and can he continue to improve and impress? He finished with a 7-2 record as a starting quarterback, and they clinched the number 11 ranking in the final AP poll. Arizona's Noah Fifita will absolutely have a big-time chance to be one of the better quarterbacks coming over to the Big 12. How about Cam Rising over at Utah? He returns for the 2024 campaign at the ripe old age of 25. Now, he missed the entire 2023 season due to injury, but in 2022, he started 13 games. He had just over 3,000 yards. He had 8 interceptions, 26 touchdowns. He had almost 500 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns on the ground as well. He was named MVP of the Pac-12 championship game. He absolutely went off. He was ranked in the top 30 of FBS completion percentage. He was having a nice game in the Big Ten versus the Pac-12's Rose Bowl, but went out with a tragic injury there and was not able to continue in that game, and then obviously it cost him the whole year. How will he come back, not unlike Shedeur, off of an injury in this next season? And lastly, the quarterback that we'll talk about today as maybe competing for the top in the Big 12 is Jalon Daniels. In the first game of 2023, he went 21 of 29. He had 72.4% completions percentage. He had just under 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second game, he had 77.7% completions, almost 300 yards. And then the third game, he was going off too before he went down with a season-ending injury. His 6th career game with 3+ touchdowns was the one he did get injured in. He ran the ball really well. He averaged 6 yards a carry on 9 rushes before going down. And Jalon's on track for a full recovery, but will he be the same quarterback? You're noticing a theme here. A couple of these quarterbacks ended last year with an injury. A couple of them carried injuries over. Will they be the same guys coming into this year? Time will be yet to tell, but it does seem like all 4 of these guys will be kind of at the top of what's going on. What about offensive production coming back? In addition to Shedeur, Colorado also has two-way phenom Travis Hunter, as well as Dylan Edwards, Jimmy Horn Jr., and others. Entering 2024, Bill Connolly has Colorado set as the 15th ranked team, returning 72% of their overall production. Omarion Miller could have a breakout season. He absolutely went off against USC and other games as well. You could have a couple of tight ends who transferred in from Cincinnati and others. Louis Passero, who had a season-ending injury last year. We've talked a ton about Alton McCaskill, freshman All-American at Houston in 2021, and what he may be able to bring. You guys know about Edwards. You guys also know about the offensive line, Jordan Seaton from IMG, and then the other transfers that we've had come in. How much will they be able to help Travis Hunter? Now, Kansas, their offense has a couple of new co-coordinators, Jeff Grimes and Jim Zabrowski. They have to revamp their offensive line to give their quarterback any kind of a shot. Kansas returns most of their receiving core, second only to Washington, according to PFF, and that includes receivers Lawrence Arnold, Quentin Skinner, and Luke Grimm. Can Kansas's returning production give them a really strong chance to be a great offense as well? For Utah, Bill Connolly says that Utah is almost like Colorado here, returning the 16th most production, Colorado's 15th. And they were a good team last year, even without their starting quarterback. They beat the heck out of Florida. They played Colorado tough, won that game at the end of the year. They added new weapons like transfers from UCLA and USC, as well as a Washington wide receiver. Their offensive line comes back. They return several starters. And Utah's running backs may split carries, but they always have a really nice backfield there as well. Utah could be really, really nice this year and certainly give Rising a chance to be in the lead as far as quarterbacks go as well. Arizona is a little bit different of a story. Now, receiver Tatoria McMillan was a star on last year's team. He had just under 1,400 yards. They will certainly look to him a ton, but it is an entirely new coaching staff out there. Brett Brennan, a new head coach there from San Jose State, will have to get that thing up and moving quickly in this new Big 12, but they certainly have enough weapons and enough incoming transfers to think that they could certainly do that very, very well. What will that new offensive unit look like? We're not sure just yet. However, when you look at all 4 of these teams and you look at the returning production and you look at the stability, the continuity, I think Colorado has a clear advantage, and Shedeur Sanders has a clear advantage to be the best quarterback in this conference. Take away his natural talent. Take away the fact that he's Coach Prime's son. Take away the swagger and the confidence and all those things you expect out of him anyway. Take all that away. And then just focus in on the fact that a couple of these guys are coming off of season-ending injuries. Now, I know Shedeur missed the last game with an injury, and so if you want to call that season-ending because he didn't play in the last, okay, great, you can have it. But it's not the kind of injuries that other guys were coming off of. The one guy that didn't come off of a season-ending injury has a completely new coaching staff in place as well. And it's going to take time for all 3 of those guys to kind of get up to speed. Shedeur should be the most plug-and-play, ready to go of all of the Big 12 quarterbacks that you've seen. Could someone else, could a dark horse like UCF's kid, could another quarterback like Oklahoma State's kid step up and be that guy? Absolutely. But if you have to put a bet on it right now, who's going to be the best quarterback in the Big 12 this year, it would shock me if it wasn't Shedeur Sanders. Based on what he brings back, based on who he is, based on the year he had last year, based on the upgrades, the offensive line, and the weapons out at wideout that Colorado has right now, I'd put my money squarely on Shedeur Sanders. And that is a massive bump. That is a massive bonus for Colorado, who is going to be looking to to have a really, really good first year, a really, really good year 2 under Coach Prime, but a good first year in the Big 12. A team that's going to be looking to make their mark and make a massive statement and a very loud statement on this national stage, on this more East Coast stage. Where their games are played is not necessarily moving when they're at home at Folsom Field, but the way that it all goes down on the television, the way that people get to see it, will be different. What are your thoughts? I've got Shedeur number 1. I've probably got Cam Rising right after him. I probably got Arizona's Fifita right after him. And then I've got Jalon there at Kansas as number 4 in my rankings. But I think there's a pretty clear gap of Shedeur number 1 at this point. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, checking us out here at the prime time for college football.